I never imagined my life would flip so drastically in just a year. What was meant to be the happiest day of my life turned into the darkest, but not for long. Pain has a funny way of shaping people, and sometimes, your greatest heartbreak leads you straight to your greatest breakthrough. My name is Amira. I'm a 28-year-old fashion designer from Abuja, Nigeria. I used to believe in fairy tales. I believed that love could conquer all, until my own love story turned into a horror novel, all starting on the day I was supposed to feel the most loved. My birthday. It was a rainy Thursday in May. I had just wrapped up work on my latest bridal collection and was heading home, humming to myself, because I had a strong feeling my boyfriend, Teo, had something big planned for me that evening. We'd been together for 4 years. Through his NYSC days, through my struggle of starting my own brand with only 3 clients, through everything. He was my peace, my person, my future husband. I remember I was in traffic, scrolling through Instagram, smiling at the sweet birthday messages from my friends when a notification popped up. A message from Teo. I tapped on it quickly, expecting a romantic "I can't wait to see you tonight" text. Instead, what I read made my heart stop. Amira, I can't do this anymore. You deserve better. I'm sorry to do this on your birthday, but it's over. That was it. No explanation. No warning signs. No discussion. After 4 years. I laughed bitterly at first, thinking maybe it was a prank. But it wasn't. He blocked me immediately after. No calls. No closure. Nothing. I sat in my car, frozen, as the rain pounded the windshield like the beat of my shattered heart. Everything around me blurred. My cake was in the back seat. The dress I had bought for our dinner date felt like a mockery. But I didn't cry. Not that day. I went home, turned off my phone, and sat in the dark for hours. It was the next day that I cried. 4 hours. I called my best friend, Zara, and screamed into the phone like a madwoman. She rushed over, held me while I sobbed, and then said something that snapped me out of my spiral. Cry, but don't let this man destroy you. Use it. Win with it. Her words sat in my chest for days. I didn't go online. I ignored messages. I just worked. Day and night. Sketching. Sewing. Creating. My heartbreak bled into my designs, and oddly enough, clients began to pour in. They felt something raw in my work that hadn't been there before. 3 months later, I was invited to an exclusive fashion gala in Lagos. I almost didn't go, until Zara practically dragged me there. That night, something shifted. The gala was held at the landmark event center, filled with the elite of Nigeria's fashion, tech, and finance industries. I wore a black velvet dress I had stitched myself, a dress that felt like armor. I needed it. Halfway through the night, I was introduced to Iamide. Tall. Reserved. Polished. He wasn't flashy like the other men around, but there was something about him that felt grounded. He complimented my work, told me he'd seen one of my bridal gowns in a recent magazine spread. We spoke for hours, about business, travel, family, pain. He told me he rarely attended such events but came only to support a friend. I didn't think much of it. All I knew was that, for the first time in months, I felt something stir in my heart, something unfamiliar and hesitant, but alive. We didn't rush. He texted me 2 days after the gala. Simple, respectful. Then he called. Then we met for coffee. It was peaceful. No games. No confusion. He listened. He asked. He shared. Weeks passed. I kept thinking, surely this can't be real. Until the day I visited his home in Ikoyi for the first time. And on the hallway wall, I saw a photo that made me stop breathing. It was Teo. With Iamide. Brothers. Blood brothers. Tayo was Iamide's younger brother. I remember my knees going weak as Iamide caught me just before I collapsed. He was confused. Concerned. I told him everything, every single thing. From the beginning. From the rain that fell on my birthday to the last text message. He was silent for a long time after I finished. Then he said, "That sounds exactly like something Tayo would do." I blinked. "What do you mean?" And then Iamide told me what I never knew. Tayo had a long history of selfishness and recklessness. Iamide had bailed him out of gambling debts, paid off girls he abandoned, and shielded him from their mother's shame too many times to count. "But you," Iamide said, looking at me intently, "you're different. I can see it. You don't deserve what he did to you. And I won't let that define how you see yourself." From that day forward, Iamide became my safe place. Months passed. Love grew in silence, in sincerity. When he proposed, I said yes. Not out of revenge, but out of truth. I had found the love I thought was lost. The day I sent out the wedding invites, I paused at one card. Tayo's. I debated for hours whether to send it, burn it, or ignore him like he did me. But then I remembered something my father used to say. "The sweetest revenge is your peace." So I sent it. Signed, "With love, from the woman you lost, now becoming your sister-in-law." I didn't hear back. But I knew he'd read it. What happened on the wedding day, though, was something none of us saw coming. The wedding morning dawned with quiet air and golden light spilling across the hills of Jos, where Iamide insisted we get married. It was his late mother's hometown, and the serenity of the private estate overlooking the lush green hills made it the perfect place to begin our forever. But despite the beauty of the venue, my heart was uneasy. Not because I doubted Iamide, never that. He had been nothing but solid, calm, and present since the day we met. But deep within, I kept asking myself, is this really happening? The guests began to arrive. Dignitaries. Entrepreneurs. Celebrities. Fashion moguls. Clients from Lagos and Ghana. It was surreal. I walked through the flowered archways, barely able to believe that this was my wedding. Until I saw him. Tayo. Dressed in a navy blue kaftan. Standing in the distance near the palm-lined walkway. Alone. Watching. My breath caught in my chest. It had been over a year since I saw him last, and I had imagined this moment so many times. Maybe he'd apologize, maybe he'd come begging. But in real life, none of that happened. Our eyes met. Just for a second. He didn't flinch. Didn't smile. Didn't look guilty. Just empty. I turned away, heart thumping. Iamide's best man, Fola, walked over to whisper, "Your ex showed up. You want security to escort him out?" I shook my head. No. Let him stay. I wanted him to see it. See what he threw away. Not out of pride, but to show him that he couldn't break me. That I rebuilt myself. And I didn't just survive, I bloomed. The ceremony began shortly after. I walked down the aisle, my hand tucked inside my father's trembling arm, while violins played softly in the background. Iamide stood beneath the flowered canopy, eyes locked on mine. He didn't blink as I approached. Didn't stop smiling. Not even once. And that's when I knew I had chosen right. The vows were beautiful. Emotional. A few guests cried, and I nearly did too, until I glanced to the side. Tayo was gone. Vanished. Later that night, as the reception roared into celebration, I slipped away for a moment of quiet. My heels clicked along the marble hallway of the estate's guest wing when I heard voices, familiar ones. Iamide. And Tayo. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but their voices carried through the corridor. Tayo was shouting. You always get everything, Ayo. The money, the praise, now her too? She was never yours, Tayo, Iamide replied calmly. You treated her like an option. She was a gift you didn't recognize. You think I care? She was just someone to pass time with. You think she loves you? You're just the richer brother. Silence. And then Iamide said something that stunned me. You know the difference between us, Tayo? I build what you destroy. I cherish what you waste. And I don't need her to prove anything, I chose her because she brings peace, not chaos. Tayo laughed bitterly. We'll see how long that lasts. The sound of footsteps approached, and I quickly walked back to the garden, my mind racing. Hours later, when the last dance was done and our guests had gone, Iamide and I sat beneath the stars, barefoot on the grass, sipping palm wine and watching fireworks light up the sky. He looked at me, brushing a stray lock of hair from my face. I know you heard us. I nodded. Are you okay? He smiled faintly. I've always known who my brother is. But I needed you to see it for yourself. I didn't want his actions to follow us into our future. I took his hand. Thank you for choosing me. For seeing me. His voice was firm. No. Thank you for surviving him and still loving again. That night, as we walked into our new life together, I made peace with my past. But little did I know, Tayo had planted a seed of vengeance that would soon take root, one that would threaten everything we had just built. Some people don't lose you because they were blind, they lose you because they never thought you'd find better. But when you heal, you don't just prove them wrong, you free yourself. 3 weeks after the wedding, life felt like a dream. Iamide and I returned to Lagos and moved into a sleek penthouse apartment overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. My brand, by Amira, had tripled in visibility since the wedding photos went viral. Everyone was talking about the designer who married the billionaire. But beneath the calm surface, a storm was brewing. Iamide's phone began to buzz more frequently. Anonymous threats. Rumors in the media about a scandal in the Adebayo family. Then came the corporate whispers, allegations of fraud within Iamide's investment firm. He dismissed them at first. Competitors play dirty when they can't win clean. But when the EFCC raided one of his offices, he knew something serious was unfolding. 2 days later, it was confirmed. Tayo had leaked sensitive company files to the press, documents he stole years ago when he worked under Iamide's firm, before being quietly let go for misconduct. I thought I destroyed those files, Iamide muttered, pacing the study, fury in his eyes. He made copies. He planned this, I whispered. Even before our wedding. Maybe even before he dumped me. Iamide nodded, jaw tight. He wants to ruin me. And now, us. What followed was a month of intense scrutiny. News blogs twisted the narrative. Love triangle ends in legal war between billionaire brothers. Wife behind the feud? Ex-girlfriend turns billionaire's bride, revenge or romance? People forgot I was a person, not a headline. And through it all, Tayo stayed silent, but present. A lingering shadow. One evening, as I closed my boutique in Lekki, I stepped outside to find him leaning against my car. Tayo. He looked rough, like life had been chewing him up from the inside. His shirt wrinkled. His face unshaved. But his eyes? Still cold. Still calculating. You won, he said. Happy now? I stared at him. Is that what this is about? Some twisted game of revenge? He chuckled bitterly. You embarrassed me, Amira. Made me the villain in front of the whole world. I stepped closer. No, Tayo. You made yourself the villain. The day you ghosted me. The day you threw me away like I was nothing. His voice cracked. You were never nothing. But I knew you deserved more, and I hated that I couldn't give it. I blinked, taken aback. He continued, so I let you go. But watching you walk into everything I lost, it burned. I exhaled slowly. Then this pain you feel? It's yours to keep. I've let mine go. Later that night, I told Ayamide everything. He listened, then sat quietly, staring out at the city lights. I've always tried to protect him. Covered for him. Forgave him. But this, he crossed a line. The lawsuit was filed a week later. Ayamide sued his own brother for corporate sabotage and theft of intellectual property. It was messy. Painful. But necessary. In the courtroom, I watched two brothers, once close, now strangers divided by ego and history. Teo didn't look at me once. The court ruled in Ayamide's favor. Damages were paid. But something more valuable was lost forever, the bond between them. Months passed. The noise died down. Our lives began to find rhythm again. One evening, I sat on our balcony, sketching designs for my next bridal line. Ayamide came out, placed a warm kiss on my forehead, and said, "Would you change any of it, if you could?" I looked up at him, the man who loved me not in spite of my scars, but because of them. "No," I whispered. "Because every heartbreak led me to you. And more importantly, back to myself." He smiled. "Then let's never let the past steal our peace again." And from that moment, we chose peace. Daily. Fiercely. Sometimes, the people who break you don't do it out of strength, but out of fear. Fear of your potential. Fear of their own inadequacies. But you don't need to fight them to win. You win by healing. By building. By choosing love over bitterness. And sometimes, the best revenge is living a life that no one believed you could, especially the one who broke you. Closure doesn't always come with apologies. Sometimes it comes when you rise above the fire meant to destroy you and build something beautiful from its ashes.